The sun, that sparkling, burning sphere that rises every day, bringing with it light, warmth, and life. It has been the constant in our lives, the center of many cultures, and the source of our energy. Throughout history, civilizations have revered the sun, building monuments in its honor and shaping rituals around its cycles. But what if one day that steady, dependable light just disappeared? What would happen if the sun stopped shining? In the immense theater of the cosmos, stars shine in every corner. But our sun, he's special. About 4.6 billion years old, the sun is a medium-sized star in its main phase. And while he's just one of billions, to us, he's irreplaceable. Its gravity is what holds our solar system together, making the planets, including Earth, orbit in perfect balance. And its light and heat, they are the lifeblood that fuels our ecosystems, drives weather patterns, and ultimately allows us to exist. Imagine an ordinary day when, without warning, daylight begins to fade. It is not an eclipse, but something more abrupt and total. In a matter of minutes, the entire world would find itself in a state of confusion and panic. The city lights would come on automatically, trying to compensate for the unexpected darkness. The media would be flooded with reports and speculation. Questions would pop up everywhere. What happened? Why did the sun stop shining? It's not just humans who would be perplexed. Animals would also be drastically affected, with their behavioral patterns thrown into chaos due to the abrupt loss of sunlight. As the world grapples with darkness, a silent but fatal shift begins to take place. Without the sun's constant heat, the Earth begins to cool rapidly. Within the first 24 hours, any place that wasn't already covered in snow or ice would begin to have a visible layer of frost. Lakes, rivers, and surface oceans would begin to show thin layers of ice. Cities would feel the cold first, buildings would begin to lose heat, and people would be forced to seek refuge in warmth, relying on generators and alternative energy sources. Meanwhile, in the polar regions, ice expansion would accelerate. Places that were once moderately cold would now face conditions of eternal winter. The absence of the sun would not only impact the Earth's surface, our atmosphere would also undergo radical changes. With temperatures falling, the troposphere, the lowest layer of the atmosphere where weather occurs, would begin to shrink. This could lead to extreme and unpredictable weather phenomena. Our oceans, which regulate the global climate thanks to their currents, would begin to suffer. With global cooling, ocean currents would slow down, altering entire marine ecosystems. Marine life, especially in sensitive ecosystems like coral reefs, would face mass extinctions. Species that depend on sunlight for photosynthesis, such as phytoplankton, would be the first to disappear, triggering a domino effect in the ocean food chain. Photosynthesis, which is the cornerstone of life on Earth, depends crucially on sunlight. Without it, the balance of life as we know it would be in jeopardy. In the short term, plants would lose their main source of energy. First, the smaller plants, and then the sturdier trees would collapse, drastically affecting oxygen production. As a consequence, the fauna would be drastically affected. Herbivores would face food shortages, while carnivores would face decreasing prey, leading to an intensified struggle for survival. Species that depend on light patterns for migration, reproduction, or simple orientation would be disoriented. Our climate, driven by the complex interaction between the atmosphere, oceans, and solar radiation, would undergo dramatic changes in the absence of the sun. The dynamics of the atmosphere would change, with the upper layers cooling much faster than the lower ones. This imbalance could lead to extreme atmospheric turbulence. The world could witness more violent storms and in unusual places. Tornadoes spawning in areas not prone to them, and extremely severe winters in otherwise mild regions. In a longer period, the entire planet would be on its way to becoming an icy wasteland. Coastal regions, previously moderated by ocean heat, would turn into frozen tundra, expanding the ice frontier beyond the poles. The oceans, which cover more than 70% of the Earth's surface, depend heavily on the sun not only for marine life, but also for their currents and temperatures. Ocean currents, which are largely driven by temperature and salinity differences between waters, would begin to fail without constant solar energy. The transport of heat, nutrients, and marine life would be drastically affected. Photosynthesis of phytoplankton, the base of the oceanic food chain, would cease, leading to a sharp drop in the population of fish and other species. Coral reefs, dependent on light to support symbiotic algae, would face extinction. With progressive cooling, the polar regions would expand their icy territories. The advance of the ice would significantly alter the sea level, and vast areas of the oceans would become ice fields. Earth's ecosystems, from rainforests to savannas, are complex and interdependent, all relying on sunlight for supported balance. Photosynthesis, the process by which plants convert sunlight into energy, would be disrupted. Without this vital process, vegetation would begin to die, leading to a shortage of food in the Earth's food chain. However, not all life would cease immediately. Some species adapted to dark environments, such as caves, could persist longer. Microorganisms that do not depend on sunlight, such as those that inhabit hydrothermal vents on the ocean floor, would also continue. The idea of a sunless world may be frightening, but it reminds us of the daily miracle that is the existence of life on Earth. Cherish every ray of sunshine, and if you like the video, leave your like, subscribe, and see you next time.